Hi, Mark here. It's Wednesday, October the 1st, 9:23 a.m. Eastern. That's 1:23 p.m. GMT. US session well underway. Let's have a look at the US dollar and how it's performing. Fourth consecutive day, lower highs, lower low, US dollar being sold off, weak US dollar. And at this point, looks like it's doing enough even for the daily EMAs to cross to the downside. Of course, that can change. We often see during the US session a turnaround, and we've seen it the last 2 days from weak US dollar to not strong US dollar, but certainly recouping a lot of the gains. You see the wickets left behind. So far today, solid red candlestick and weak US dollar going into the US session. I've got resistance at 97.55 and support at 97.13. Let's have a look how the majors are performing, starting with the Euro US. And there you can see again, fourth consecutive day of higher highs, higher lows, buying euro, selling US dollar. I've got support at 117.12 and I've got resistance at 117.79. That's the daily support and resistance levels. If I zoom into that hourly, there you can see after a strong sell-off, selling euro, buying US dollar, strong US dollar to start, but now that's being reversed and buying euro, selling US dollar, buyers looking up at the 117.79 resistance level. Let's have a look at the pound against the US. I've got the dailies up, and there you can see strong pound, weak US dollar. US dollar hasn't so far fought back against the pound. I've got support at 134, 34. I've got resistance at 135.20. Buying pound, selling US dollar. And on the hourly, there you can see just how strong the pound has been, alternatively, how weak the US has been. Sitting at that resistance level now, buyers will look to test break above this resistance level. If there's any kind of turnaround from dollar weakness to dollar strength against the pound, they'll look for a bounce down off this resistance area, and sellers of pound, buyers of US, will be looking down at this 134.34 support level. Let's look at the US yen. Very strong sell-off here, buying yen, selling US dollar from an open of just over 148 yen, already 146.62, so well over 120 pip move already to start the day. Resistance at 148.25. I've got support at 146.62 on the hourly. Just zooming in, there you can see strong sell-off, and US dollar has not fought back as yet. If there's going to be a bounce from weak US dollar to strong US dollar, I believe it'll be from around this area, this level, the support level, and buyers would be looking all the way back up here at the 148.25. But so far, weak US dollar and no bounce back as yet. Let's look at the US against the Canadian. This is the one major where the US is strengthening against the Canadian, different pattern to the other three so far. I've got support today at 139.06 and resistance at 139.35. That's buying US dollar, selling Canadian. Let's zoom in on that hourly. And there you can see testing that level right now. If US dollar strength can continue and break above this 139.35 level, I will be looking up here at the 139.40, 139.50 on the upside. If there's going to be a turnaround and weak US dollar from here on in, they'll be looking down at support at $1.39, $1.39.06. So generally, we've got weak US dollar to start, certainly against the euro, against the pound, and against the yen. US dollar showing a bit of strength against the Canadian, but we have resistance support levels to work with. Whether we're going to see a break of these extreme levels, resistance support levels, or bounce down or bounce up of these levels, we've got levels to work with. Good trading, keep that discipline. I'll see you at the end of today's session.